Come then, friends. I have never been as proud as I am on this day at this moment. The birth of my beautiful wife. Welcome to our wedding. Or as Mrs. Cannon keeps reminding me, to the happiest day of my life. I would like to start by thanking John for his kind words, especially for making Jill. Making Jill the lady she is today. For finally giving his daughter away. He's been through a lot this year with open heart surgery in August. So John, it's fantastic to see you here looking so well. Thank you. Warrant Officer Matthews had a distinguished RAF career, meeting the Queen on more than one occasion, and was awarded the British Empire Medal. This honour is one of a select few that gives the right for his children to get married in St Paul's Cathedral. Given his reaction when we first brought him here, I'm not sure his heart would have coped with it. Earlier this year, I saw John give the biggest smile I've ever seen him give. Unfortunately, it wasn't when he heard about the engagement. It was just after a day trip to Paris, and I'd asked if he'd seen any signs. His eyes lit up, a broad smile appeared, and he said, "Yes, 12 prostitutes." To you all, thank you for your patience. Many people thought this day would never come, that I'd be standing here making the groom's speech, myself and Jill included. Rumours I chose the shortest day to get it over with as soon as are unfounded, as is the comment that the longest sentence in the world is "I do." Many people have also told me how lucky I am to be marrying Jill. That also includes my new wife on a number of occasions. During the early 80s, my father and I would set off on adventures to either drop off or pick up my brother from university. Departing from Bedford before dawn on a Sunday, stopping for breakfast at Little Chef before reaching the north. This was where the A1 turned right just after Sherwood Forest. This was where coal flowed off a conveyor belt to the slag heap below. This was striking miners and police on the roundabout. We'd pass the cooling towers at Ferry Bridge, and signs on the M62 would warn of subsidence. Before driving past Ellen Road and arriving in a city at the time darkened by the Yorkshire River. To an 11-year-old, it was dark, it was scary, and it was grim. What I could never have imagined at the time was in the posh shadow of that coal mine, which I now know to be Harworth, there was a young lady who 32 years later would become my wife. And that one day we'd be able to admire those cooling towers from our bedroom window. Our paths crossed late in the year 2000 when Jill joined the department where I was working at the Halifax. It was the day of the Christmas party, and I tried to persuade her she should take one of the available spaces. Fortunately, she declined and didn't see me drunk or on the dance floor within hours of meeting me, and instead our friendship grew and we started going out a year later. It seemed we had lots in common. We both loved the Lake District, nice hotels, walking, Cornwall. I soon learned that Jill loved other things much more than me. Namely, sleeping and shopping, and that the only walking she did like was around Meadowhall shopping. I remember learning on our first shopping trip that even if asked for one's opinion, best not to give it. Always give Jill enough time for retail therapy. For years, Jill had been asking me for diamonds, saying that the answer would depend on the size. I didn't let her down. I finally proposed last November, whilst on holiday. When Jill and I announced our engagement, I regret to say that a number of people expressed their concern as to whether we were doing the right thing. The general feeling was we might just be rushing into things. On the other hand, some family members expressed surprise, as it seems that many thought that we were already married. I just couldn't remember the details of the wedding. Having spent all my money on the ring, I'd planned for a long engagement. So, imagine my surprise when Jill told me she'd booked an appointment with the wedding coordinator here on the first Saturday after we returned from holiday. It is a privilege and an honour to speak on behalf of my wife and I. I'd like to thank you all for coming today, to be with us on our special day. Amongst us, over half of you became friends through our combined 50 years of service with the Halifax. 38 of us having worked there.
Say 38 of them were mine.
Only 20. 38 of us having worked there or being with someone who has. We have 20 members of our family, 4 of Jill's school friends, but not those fellow Rishworthians, John Noakes or Ed Sheeran. We also have 2 family friends of over 40 years standing, and 3 other close friends. It wouldn't be nearly so special if it wasn't for sharing it with all of you who have been so important to us during our time together, and we appreciate many of you have travelled a great distance from all corners of the country to be with us so close to Christmas and on a difficult day for those in the retail sector. We hope very much you are enjoying yourselves and will continue to do so late into the evening. I'm sure you'll all agree that we found the ideal setting for this memorable occasion. We've even been blessed with the weather for the time of year. Our thanks go to Laura, Rachel, Emma and all the team here at Woodhall that have been so supportive in the 12 months since our first visit and the idea of a Christmas wedding was born, and also to our fantastic waiting and kitchen staff who served us such a wonderful meal. I hope you like our original table names, unlike some of the weddings Jill and I have attended, where we've had racing car circuits, Kylie songs and kebabs. We were on Donna. At least I thought it was kebabs, but it turned out it was reindeer. So for that couple, I'd like to wish you a very happy anniversary for your As Mrs. Brown said, it turned out Donna was the brown-nosed reindeer. He was just behind and just as fast as Rudolph, but wasn't quite so good at stopping. There's clearly a lot of people who contribute to making a day like this a success. So I'll go through those that Jill and I would like to thank and propose we have one big round of applause at the end. That way we may get time for an evening reception. To David and Paula for not giving Jill vodka espressos last night, so getting her here on time today. Tracy for the wonderful flowers and centerpieces. Yes. To our stunning page boys, Finley and Bailey. Yes. To my very good friend Andrew, whose band you'll see later on. To my sister Lisa and Alison for the lovely readings in our civil ceremony. To Claire, our photographer, who was in the year below Jill at Rishworth. My best man Neil. And to all those who shared our enthusiasm in the run-up to the big day. Yeah. If we can show our appreciation. Yeah. We would also like to thank all of you for your cards, kind thoughts and generous donations. Jill and I are flying to Cape Town next Saturday, where we will spend New Year before driving across southern Africa. Oh. We will actually be spending New Year's Eve with a couple who couldn't make it today, as they are on a flight to Johannesburg, and we subsequently realised our paths would cross in Cape Town on the 31st. Oh. While talking about cards, I'd also like to thank MasterCard and Visa. without whom this would never have been possible. I really do mean it when I say the bride and groom will be in their debt forever. Now, as is the custom, there will be a few toasts during the next couple of speeches. So please make sure you don't down the whole glass. Jill's given me a list of those she's particularly worried about. Andrea, Paula, Gaynor, Leslie, Annie, Joanne, Tracy, Wendy, Lisa and Mum. I would personally like to thank Jill's family. And for all the help they've given us. And as this speech is from both of us, Jill would like to thank my mum, Ida. You should be very proud to have raised such a handsome, kind-hearted, dashing son who is athletic, wise, and such a modest man. Seriously though, Mum, a very big thank you for being there for me. Your love, patience, support, and all you have done. So I'm very grateful to both John and Isla for helping to make today possible. Unfortunately, it's not been possible to have everyone we love here with us today. In particular, we think of Jill's mum, Dorothy, to whom she was so close and who passed away a couple of years ago, and to my father, Bill, who died 25 years ago. We know they're here with us in spirit, and they're very much in our thoughts today. So with them in mind, together with your own loved ones, please raise your glasses and join me in a toast to absent friends. For years, I've wished for a girl like Jill. But as my mum says, be careful what you wish for. There was much excitement back in April when Jill and a couple of trusted friends went shopping for the dress. Firstly, I received a call asking for directions. I was then surprised to receive a text shortly after saying a purchase had been made. I suspected this was so they were in the pub promptly for lunch. It was the third one she tried on, and the moment was signalled by a friend standing up and shouting loudly across the crowded shop, "That's the one." Yay. Well, we can all confirm today that that is the one, made even more so by the fact you're wearing. A stunning dress.
Yeah.
Now, if I had to single out one thing why I love Jill so much, it would be now. It would be now that after 12 years and having finally moved in, she does my ironing. No, I'm joking. It's that she makes me happier than I've ever been. Suffice to say that Jill, I love you and can't wait to grow old with you. In Jill, I am marrying my best friend. She knows me better than I know myself. She makes me laugh. She doesn't make me cry. She understands me, believes in me, supports me, brings out the best in me, tells me when I'm going wrong. She's also an impeccable judge of character. Jill's been an enthusiastic guinea pig for my culinary creation. Picks me up when I'm down, been patient when I've thought she'd be angry. Together we've seen the world, tasted the best food and drunk the best wines. I'd like to say that the best is yet to come, but in your eyes I'm not sure I can top having dinner with Brad and Angelina. It's down to Brad we're here in midwinter rather than the summer, as the engagement planned for that July night had to be postponed, as I could no longer get eye contact. I realised who was on the next table. We've both had sickness and hospital stays during our time together, but Jill has more than her fair share. The courage she shows every day in overcoming her Crohn's is incredible. And this same strength has been demonstrated unbelievably in the time during and since her mum's illness. Jill has also taught me so much. Radley, Burberry, Louis Vuitton, Christian Louboutin. And I've also tried to keep myself in shape for Jill over the years. Is she satisfied with my body? A tiny part of me says yes. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and raise your glasses to my beautiful wife Jill, my bride and joy, to Jill. you'll agree she has done that and more. I opened my speech with a quote from Lord Coe, and I was privileged to see at last year's opening ceremony. And it is my hope that in years to come, as Jill and I look back on today, we'll be able to use the words he delivered at the closing ceremony. This was our time. When our time came, we did it right. Now, I'm not going to stand here all afternoon and bore you with a load of stale old jokes. That's the best man's job. It's difficult to sum up in a few words how much Neil has contributed to the organisation of the wedding. I can think of a couple. The second one's all. As far back as January, he was asking Mum, Lisa and Jill for stories about me, so no shortage of preparation has gone on. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to my brother, one who never lets the truth get in the way of a good story.